Hello. I wanted to talk about how I see my debt. How I see my debt because I, I struggle with depression, but a part of that is this, depression is super common. But I think that a part of it is it comes from this, ow, it comes from this sense that how am I going to get out of this debt? And I know a lot of other people are like that, just being like, we are in so much debt and we have been through things and have had lives that are atypical. For myself, I definitely identify as being disabled. I'm working on getting a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis, so I can apply for disability benefits because I don't know how long it's going to take for me to figure out how I can earn money in a sustainable way. But I know that uh, I don't want to get all into it because that's not what this video is about, but I do have a lot of um, challenges. uh, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's all these fears that surround being in debt, but um, I'm trying to see my debt as like a blessing, like it's a sign that even though it's suboptimal, it's a sign that I do live in a society that values giving people some type of little leg up, some type of little help, some type of like, you know, I know debt can be crushing, but debt is also a little bit like, I know you aren't capable, but if you take a risk on yourself and if you put money into the things that you need, then it can give you an opportunity to make more money back than the debt, like than you could have before you had gone into debt and gotten the things you needed. And some other, like, the way that we use money, it also changes like our um what role we play in the world. Sorry. I went like that to my nails and now they're feeling like not wiggly. I mean, I guess I do feel a little bit wiggly to me, but I don't know if that's normal. Probably normal flexibility. I think it just feels extra sensitive because it hurt. Anyway, so so debt um is a sign for me. I'm seeing it as like, if only I can be proud of the lessons that I have learned, that going into debt has given me, the opportunities to have these lessons, the debt that I have from moving from Rhode Island to California to be with my boyfriend, to live with him, and to um, that has completely changed around my very identity, perspective of life, set the very foundation I needed for all this healing and continued growth. Like that was worth it. My debt of my car, like that has been worth it. All the debt that I went into for uh, my personal training certificate, I'm not sure yet if that's worth it, but it's worth it that I at least was trying and experimenting and proving that like care. I care about my future, my well being. I'm trying to figure out, and maybe I'll use it sometime in the future. You know, the debt I went into to start my dog care business, to do all the registration and the website and the subscriptions to these things that I use for software, and paying for a logo to be created, and all the business cards and shirts and signs and all the gas money I've spent and all of this. I have to tell myself it's worth it, otherwise there's no good outcome that can happen. It's just gonna be me be me feeling like down on myself, like, oh, you fucked up again, you made a bad choice, how can you ever trust yourself? And that's not any kind of resilient perspective that I have any time for. That's not helpful to me. So I have to believe that that debt was worth it, you know? That debt was worth it. Um, for me to um, have that experience of experimenting and being like, you know, I truly was feeling like this. I really wanted it to be a way that I could earn money sustainably and get onto this life track, this positive life track in it. You know, I learned that like, I just really don't like dogs that much. I see it as more like a temporary thing. Like I am kind of allergic to dogs. I realized like I have breathing problems. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night while house sitting, not be able to breathe. I like dogs. They pull on their leashes, and I have a neck injury, and it just exacerbates it. Like dogs, you have to always be hyper on top of them, and I am too exhausted to want to like always be micromanaging and then freaking out wondering if like they're okay, um and having to constantly manage their anxiety and their aggression and all this stuff. Like it's too much. So I realized like, okay, dogs aren't really for me. But the fact that I started that business, and you know, I did taxes for the first time with that business, and I experimented with it, and I at least was proving to myself that I'm like banking on myself, and like I care about you, Hannah. I care about your cares and your dreams and your desires, and finding like a sustainable way of life that lets you feel proud and provide for yourself and your loved ones, and you know, make sure your parents don't go to a nursing home one day, and all this stuff is constantly like a fearful thing in my mind. And hopefully one day, you know, I want to be able to live at a place where I don't smell the neighbors, in this apartment here, where I don't smell the neighbors always smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, and always feeling like, oh god, if there's a fire, then I'm going down with them. And you know, just I don't have a backyard, I have barely any sun on my balcony, so I can't garden really, stuff like that. Anyway, I'm getting kind of distracted with the things that money can get me. Uh, I had a notification on my phone, but you know, I I I that my debt proves that I am invested in caring about myself and really trying. Um, my debt that I have for food, I have a lot of debt because I haven't really had a stable job in like a year and a half. I've had jobs on and off, but I've been, you know, underemployed, less employed, like more unemployed than employed in the past year and a half. So I have a lot of debt just from like getting food and getting like, I don't know. I probably bought this little fake plant on my credit card, you know, like things that are like for beautifying and having a home that is like nurturing and trying to invite beauty and magic and enjoyability into everyday life, you know? Things like that. Like I put clothes on my credit card. I only go to thrift stores except for shoes, you know? Like I very rarely buy new clothes. But I for me it's worth it. Like the debt I have for that is worth it because it's a sign that I am loving, you know, um that I have invested. I've decided it's worth it for me to enjoy beauty and fun and play and creativity and just like inviting more of my humanity in, you know, not just like this sense of like survival, like clothes. Well, you're not freezing to death, are you? Like, not saying it as like that, but saying like, no, it's a way to like embrace like the dignity of having humanity and living in society where a definition of humanity includes like knowing who you are and reflecting that through the clothes that you choose intentionally and helping to, you know, enjoy experiences and communicate to people, just communicate with people and bond with people silently, through clothing and through the way that we, you know, the drag we put on for being alive, you know? So for me, that was worth it to go into debt for that. I'm probably forgetting other things I've gone into debt for, but I'm just saying, like, I have no other choice but to believe that the debt that I've gone into is worth it, because it has formed all the foundation and the experiences and the different sense of self, the different relationship I have with myself. It has funded all of these things, and I want to be more grateful for my debt than to see it as like this antagonistic, terrifying thing, and to see it as kind of like prove, like, I want $10,000, a little bit more by now probably. Like, I went $10,000 into debt so that I could, like, I took that risk. So I'm going to be paying, what is it called, the interest on it. But I took that risk on purpose so that I could, in this world, so I could try to get out of the trauma and work my way out of trauma in the dead end um, mindset I was in, so that I can increase opportunities for myself and live life more joyfully and figure out some kind of sustainable way of living in the world and earning money. And I'm kind of seeing my debt as like me choosing control in my life by funding all the foundational things that will allow me to make money sustainably in the future, and that will allow me to make money, um, you know, to get out of that debt and more. Yeah. So that is the mindset that I'm in about debt. Hope it's helped you to learn, just how I think of it. If you have student loans, or if you have, what do other people go to debt for? Mortgages, houses. If you have, like, just think of it as being an asset to you, and that debt is the proof, even of the intangible things, like the experiences you have that have shaped your outlooks on the world, that have shaped your relationship with yourself, that has shaped your relationships with other people. Just think of it as like your debt as being proof that even in this godforsaken, fucked up world, that there are still opportunities that are put so that we can try to better ourselves a little bit. And yeah, there's still major things broken and people do go bankrupt, but um just, I don't know, try to see it as like proof to be more confident in yourself, I guess. The proof to be more like um more trusting that where you are in your life, it actually is like authentic, and the debt is there to prove it, like. And it, I don't know, I'm thinking not even only financial debt, but like physical debt, in the sense of injuries, bad health. I definitely have my share of that kind of stuff. Like, see it as like that type of debt is also proof of, it's like the evidence of some of like your strengths, your skills, your insights. Because if we don't choose to see these debts or these liabilities in this kind of way, then for one, we won't ever be able to find help for it, and like situations that have grace for our limitations that help us. But also, we won't be able to just enjoy life. And that is the whole purpose of it, not to be like freaking out and guilty and terrified and being depressed every day, feeling like the weight of the world is on our shoulders and we can't fix it ourselves. Um, we just, it's not sane to think that like debt is just a sign of failure and like like mistakes and proof that I'm a fucked up bad person, and proof that like I can't be trusted with anything, and proof that like I'm incapable, and blah, no. Because I think a lot of people, they see debt as like a very shameful thing, you know, and that just has no kind of like, what's that do for me? To think of debt, my debt in that kind of way, it does nothing except for make it easier for other people to take advantage of me, or to move me in a way that is like good for their goals and doesn't care about my well-being, you know, like it just gives other people um you know, and it just makes it so that my life will be based on suffering. And I know that if you've been through a lot of trauma, you can tend to want to find pleasure in suffering because, you know, it's a coping thing. But try to find pleasure in selfish, selfish suffering, you know, like try to find pleasure in suffering, like suffering of feeling like, oh, I'm guilty that I am putting myself first. I'm so selfish. I'm so like, try to find pleasure in being like a villain who's actually a villain who's not like selfless. A villain who is self-interested. Try to take pleasure in the suffering you have for feeling guilty for caring about yourself and your own wants and desires. Anyway, that's me. Debt. We're gonna get out of it. Okay. Take care. Bye.